Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Scott. We are starting a new series called If You Can Only Buy One. This is going to involve you 100% and require you to participate in this series. So for you to share with other people your thoughts on which one it is you prefer, and if you can only buy one, which one will that be? So what we'll do is we'll kind of break each one of them down, give you some slight nosing and tasting notes, and then I'll give you my opinion of both of these, and maybe also share which one for me, if I can only buy one, which one would that be? So again, this is going to require your participation. So watch all the way through, share the video, do all those things, subscribe, do all the fun stuff. We're going to continue these. We'll put some other bourbons together and put them head to head. And again, if you can only buy one, which one would that be? So today we're starting off with one of my overall favorite brands, Wild Turkey. We're going to put head to head the Russell's Reserve Single Barrel up against the Wild Turkey Rare Breed. And we'll kind of, again, we'll dissect them a little bit. I'll give you my thoughts on each one, maybe which one, again, I prefer over the other, and kind of go from there. But again, this will require your participation, and make sure that you leave in the comment below which one it is you prefer. Maybe even leave some information as to if you can only buy one, what would that be and why. So let's go ahead and kind of dive into this. I'll give you a little bit of the specs on each one, kind of give you a little bit of a breakdown on that. So let's first start from your left. The Russell's Reserve Single Barrel comes in at 110 proof. Mash bill on this one's going to be 75% corn, 13% rye, 12% malted barley, standard Wild Turkey mash bill. Non-chill filtered, price generally speaking, again, give or take $5 or so. Russell's Reserve Single Barrel right around that $55 price point. Now let's move over to your right and the Wild Turkey Rare Breed. Again, readily available for the most part, even though I will say this, there are some people who have let me know that Rare Breed is maybe slightly more difficult to find than the Russell's Reserve Single Barrel. Again, let me know in the comments below, is one or the other either very readily available, or is one more than the other for you? So again, the Wild Turkey Rare Breed, again, same mash bill, 75, 13, 12. For me, this is about $10 cheaper. For me, I can get Rare Breed in my area for about $45 at Total Wine. So this for me, again, if we're factoring in price, the Rare Breed for me is about $10 cheaper. Now again, roughly ages on both of these. The Rare Breed being a blend, the Russell's Reserve Single Barrel obviously being from a single barrel and whatever that age may be. The Rare Breed itself, anywhere from 6, 8, maybe 10 years in terms of those blends for this. And generally speaking, the Russell's Reserve Single Barrel are oftentimes that we see anywhere from about that 7 to upwards of maybe 10 or 12 years. Between that 7, 8, 9 is probably more of a standard age range for the Russell's Reserve Single Barrels. Now again, if we're just factoring in price, already the Rare Breed for me in my area is going to be about, like I mentioned before, $10 cheaper, $45 versus $55 on the Russell's Reserve Single Barrel. Mash bill, again, as I mentioned, identical, 75, 13, 12. So one of the other interesting kind of factors in the Rare Breed where they maybe are using some slightly younger whiskey than the Russell's is the Rare Breed is aged in a char number 4. So that's going to have much more of a barrel influence on that whiskey. So if they are using slightly younger age stated bourbons, that char number 4 should give it, or help give it, a little bit more of that elevated oakier profile. So without further ado, let's go ahead and kind of dive into these. Again, I gave you some of the specs. Again, make sure you're leaving in the comment section below, if you can only buy one, which one of these would it be? So let's go ahead and just kind of give you guys a little idea of some of the nosing and tasting notes of the both Russell's Reserve Single Barrel and the Wild Turkey Rare Breed. Let's go ahead and first start out with the Russell's Reserve Single Barrel. Yeah, again, very standard for me in the Russells is a lot of those kind of caramel, toffee, vanilla, fruit, nice wood characteristics that it has. It has that very tried and true bourbon nose palate kind of profile. Let's go ahead and give this a quick taste. Cheers. Beautiful whiskey. Again, $55, 75, 13, 12 mash bill. For me, readily available. Love, again, the fact that for me, Wild Turkey is a brand where both the nose and palate typically match on both of them. I don't really have one where something stands out more significantly than the other. So it's one thing I like about Wild Turkey is that generally speaking, the nose on each one of them is going to set up for about what you're going to taste. So that's something that I do appreciate when both the nose and the palate tend to kind of match up. So as I mentioned before, Russell's Reserve single barrel, heavy caramels, lots of toffee, good vanillas, good oak presence that it has to it. And again, always a really nice oak or wood component that it has. It's a very well done single barrel. Now again, we're comparing a single barrel Russell's to a blended rare breed. So again, this could be preference of, do you prefer single barrels? Do you prefer a blended product? Again, make sure you're leaving a comment below as to if you can only buy one, which one is it going to be? So right away, again, very tried and true, fantastic or incredible bourbon profile that the Russell's has. So let's shift over to the rare breed. I'll give you some thoughts on that right now. We'll kind of nose through this one and see exactly what this is going to give us as well. See, for me, this almost, even at a higher proof, this comes across as a softer bourbon. It doesn't come through quite as big and as bold as the Russell's does. And why that is, I don't know. It just always drinks much softer than Russell's does. It almost drinks more along the lines of a kind of ramped up Kentucky Spirit than it does the Russell's. So I think as much as these are both Wild Turkey products, to me, there's some significant differences. For me, on the rare breed, this is where more of that orange zest starts to kind of come out. Again, nice tobacco notes, slight mint note that's there. Lighter oak than I do get off of the rare breed. Even though the rare breed has a char level 4 on those barrels, this is coming across as a softer bourbon to me. Again, as I mentioned, lighter oak, not heavy, big oak bomb or anything like that. I do get more of a nutty characteristic on the rare breed than I do Russell's. I get very little to no nuttiness on Russell's, but I do pick up some of that on the rare breed. All right, let's go ahead and dive into this and see what this one's going to give us on the palate. Cheers. So what I will say right away is this does have where the proof is about 6 or 7 proof points higher. It does show up a little bit more proofy, again, on the rare breed than it does the Russell's. So the nosing part of this is oftentimes for me a little bit softer than the Russell's. However, when you get to the palate, this drinks slightly hotter, more proofy than the Russell's Reserve single barrel. The Russell's Reserve single barrel for me drinks more developed. There's more of those heavier, rich bourbon characteristics in this than there is this for me. This has tendencies to drink more heavier tobaccos, leathers, again, that orange zest that's there. Definitely some oak, again, a little more heat on this one, but overall, both incredible, incredible bourbon. It just boils down to the profile that you prefer, the availability, pricing, of course. So the question again is, if you can only buy one, which one will that be for you? Are you a Russell's Reserve single barrel fan, or are you a Wild Turkey rare breed fan? Leave a comment below. Let the world know what it is that you prefer, and if you can only buy one, which one of these is it going to be. Now for me, if I'm choosing between the two of these, as much as I'd like to say it's a very close race, generally speaking for me, it's not. I'm always, generally speaking, choosing the Russell's Reserve single barrels. There is something about that richer, darker, deeper profile that works best for my profile. I completely understand why it is that people appreciate or want to lean towards the rare breed because of its flavor profile. But this is the fun part about bourbon and why it got me thinking of doing this kind of series of if you can only buy one, which one would it be and why? For me, it's gonna be the Russell's Reserve single barrel. So there you have it. Make sure, again, with your participation and letting everybody else know which one it is you prefer. Again, if you can only buy one, Russell Reserve single barrel, Wild Turkey rare breed, what's it gonna be? Thanks guys for tuning in to episode number 1 of If You Can Only Buy One. We hit Wild Turkey today with 2 fantastic bourbons. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you'd like to follow me, you can on Facebook and Instagram, both of those places at My Bourbon Journey. If you'd like to help support the channel and become part of the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club, make sure you check out that Patreon link in the description below. That down there along with other great things for you as well. Thank you again so much for tuning in today. And remember, it's about the journey and not the destination. Make sure you leave a comment below as to if you can only buy one, which one's it gonna be? Cheers.